Reading books is good, but reading books and taking notes is even better, especially if you're reading to learn. If you're only reading to escape and you don't really care about learning, you're just reading for entertainment, then taking notes probably doesn't have that much value. But if you are somebody who's reading because you want to learn, you want to take your career to the next level, taking notes will allow you to learn quicker, and it'll actually allow you to build a library of notes that you can use later on in your career. I've been reading pretty much for the last 20 years, but I really started to take it seriously probably 7 years ago. I read this book called Tools for Titans by Tim Ferriss, and in that book, he is interviewing a couple hundred people from his podcast. And in those interviews, he asked everybody pretty much the same questions. And the book is about the answers to the same questions that he asked everyone. And success leaves clues. And when all these successful people, these multi-millionaires and billionaires, are answering these questions the same way, that's leaving a clue for us to follow in their footsteps. And one of the clues is they're all readers. First of all, most of the millionaires and billionaires out there, people that are at the top of their industry or craft, they're readers. And one of the other things that I saw through this is that they're note takers. And I began taking notes when I read that. And it was like 2019, I signed up for Evernote. And I began, anytime I was reading something, I would jot it down in Evernote. And what started happening was I started creating a library of all these books that I was reading, all these highlights, and that I can go back on. And you store up this library of really specific information that meant something to you that you now can use as your career starts to progress. And I'll give you an example. The company that I'm at now, we have 130 employees. But when I got hired there, I think I was like the 7th or 8th employee. It was really small. And it's an aviation company, and we were just all a bunch of guys that flew airplanes and loved airplanes, and we knew nothing about managing people or really running a business. But as the business grew and we started hiring people, being able to manage and cast vision and just run the business became more important to me, because I wasn't flying for a living. I was more on the business side of things, but I did not have a management degree. I didn't go to school for business. I didn't go to school for management. So I had to learn by reading. And one of the things that really helped me was taking notes. So as I began to read books about leadership and management and growth and business, I was taking notes. And I was able to share those notes with other people. I was able to use those notes to produce documents, to produce PowerPoints, to teach and share what I had learned. And if I hadn't have taken notes, I definitely would have forgotten probably a lot of what I was reading, but I definitely would not have had a library that I could use. And it's super valuable now that I've read well over 100 books and have highlights from every single one. And I use 2 different note-taking systems. I still use Evernote, and I have a lot of notes on there, but I also use this app called Readwise, because most of my reading these days are from a Kindle, and I can just highlight with my finger on the Kindle, and it transfers automatically to the Readwise app. Evernote gives me the opportunity to store other pieces of information. Like when I'm when I'm reading a book or I'm listening to maybe a podcast and I hear someone mention a book that I'd be interested in reading, I go to Evernote and I jot the name of that book title down. So when I finish a book, I go to this little folder in Evernote called Books to Read, and I look and see what books are in there that maybe will be my next book that I'm going to read. I also can take pictures and have documents, pictures, other notes that have nothing to do with a Kindle stored in Evernote. But those two, Evernote and Readwise, I'm telling you, they will drastically change how you learn. It'll increase the speed of your learning. The other really cool thing about Readwise is it sends you an email every day with 5 different highlights from the books that you've read. So you're constantly being fed highlights that meant something to you when you were reading the book, but you're getting them on a regular basis, so there's repetition going on. And the more you see something, the more you're gonna remember it, you're gonna retain it. So I encourage you, if you want to take your reading to the next level and you're reading nonfiction books, you're reading because you want to get better, because you want to learn, then get a note-taking system and you'll take your learning to the next level.